Hello, equipe Cabra Xadrez. How are you? Today this video will be in English because I would like to read a article from a news that my friend Thiago Augusto wrote, and he wrote in Portuguese and I translated. First of all, let me show you that we have now a page at Facebook. So you just click Cabra Xadrez at Facebook. It's really that easy. www.facebook.com/Cabra Xadrez, and then you are there. Click like and follow and everything else. So this is the last post, why Carlsen offered a draw. Let's check it out. Continue reading. And there we go. Why Carlsen offered a draw. The surprising final of the 12th game of World Chess Championship stunned everyone watching the match in the world's VIP lounge in London, England. When they saw the handshake between the chess players on a board still full of pieces, some people thought that the challenger Fabiano Caruana, United States, had resigned the game. Many were extremely surprised when they realized that in fact it was three-champion Magnus Carlsen from Norway who had offered a draw. It is the first time in century of this sport's history that the most important chess match ends with no win for either side. After a total balance of 6-6 in the 12 classic games, the title will be decided in the playoffs of blitz matches, a kind of penalty shootout if compared to football or soccer. The perplexity of fans and experts with the result of the last game in London soon spread among the thousands of people who follow the internet around the world. The majority opinion is that because of the distribution of the pieces on the board and the time remaining in the clocks for the chess players to complete the match, everything indicated for a final full of emotions and with a winner. However, surprisingly, Carlsen made an unusual offer to finish tied that match. Even in a superior position and advantage of time, 43 minutes against 16 minutes for Caruana. Even Caruana was suspicious and thought several minutes before accepting the strange gift. No draws. The astonishment increased in proportion because Carlsen is admittedly such a voracious competitor that he made no proposal to draw his opponents against Anand twice and Karyakin once in the three matches he won previously, regardless of the position of the pieces on the board. This time, however, it was his initiative to extend a hand offering truce to the American, precisely in the position where the experts, including computers, pointed as promising and with real chances of victory. The Norwegian, who was once considered the Mozart of chess, does not usually give peace to his opponents even in theoretically equal positions. Many of his victories arose precisely from balanced positions in which he squeezed the opponents, sometimes for more than 7 hours, until he grasps a small advantage which he can turn into victory. What then would have happened? Why did the champion raise the white flag and chose to decide the title in the tie breaks? Favoritism. In the ranking of blitz chess, in which the tiebreaker will be played, there is a certain favoritism for Magnus Carlsen. He has more than 100 ELO points ahead of his opponent and has never lost a fight with this time control. 9 matches and 9 wins, one of them even against Caruana himself. Thus, a more conservative analysis indicates that Carlsen is making the right decision, that is, taking the game to a scenario in which he holds the most chances of winning. Not that the force between them is so uneven. Only 3 points separate the grandmasters in the International Chess Federation's classic ranking. A slight advantage for Carlsen, though analysts say the current phase of Caruana at classic chess rate is higher. The strange fact is, according to experts, that such a brilliant champion who has already achieved everything in his career so willingly gave up an opportunity to escape to someone he wants to destroy. Why did he do that? When you save the wolf, the sheep are in danger, an amateur warned at the end of the game. Book critics. The fans were not the only ones astonished. Many critics came after the draw. Former world champion Garry Kasparov, Russia, did not spare Carlsen in his Twitter account. He's clearly getting nervous, he said. Kasparov also said that accepting the draw in the condition of playing for victory is proof of an emotional shock. Another former Russian world champion, Vladimir Kramnik, was also blatant. To offer a draw in this position is shameful. Even people close to Carlsen clashed with his decision. It was extremely cowardly, confessed his friend and teammate in Norwegian team, Grandmaster John Hammer, to journalist Tarjei Svensson. Even his manager and agent, Espen Agdestein, one of the people who knows the champion better, was surprised. It's the biggest shock in the world, he told the Norwegian Chronicle. Would he win? In fact, if we look coldly at the position of the board on which Carlsen agreed to tie, the Norwegian had advantages of space and initiative, as well as better harmony between the pieces, which are rare and in the elite game. Add to that a huge time difference. Magnus had more than double the minutes of his opponents to finish the match. That is, Caruana would have to play in totally precise form in the defense not to lose. And we know that when the clock strikes us, the head fades. So why did the world champion, formerly known as Murderous Tyrannosaur, looking to slay his victims on the board, agree to the white and serene flag of draw? Human, at least. I met Magnus Carlsen personally in 2011 when he was in Brazil to play and win the Grand Slam of Chess in São Paulo. He was already number 1 in the world rankings, although he would only defeat Viswanathan Anand from India and become the world champion sometime later. Shy and of few words, Carlsen lived up to Mozart's nickname of the chess that the press gave him. He seemed always absorbed in his own thoughts, expressed few emotions and almost no interest in the dozens of girls and boys who lined up around him to take a picture with the idol. At a lively cocktail party hosted by the organizers of the event, I could see that Magnus was the least comfortable. Many of them drank, talking, joking, and watching the other guests, while Carlsen kept to himself, locked in a small circle with his manager, his father, and a few friends. When he spoke of chess, however, everything changed. His eyes glittered and he surveyed a position or received a compliment for his moves. He wanted to prove all the time that he was at his peak, that he was the best in the world. In that 2011 tournament in São Paulo, He had to an unexpected setback and his intentions were threatened. He lost a game theoretically tied for the considered weakest player of the tournament, the Spaniard Paco Vallejo. His aura changed rapidly. He left the lounge without giving interviews, kicking the air, disgusted. From then on, many came to call him spoiled. He only talked when he won, only smiled or signed autographs when things went well. He was doing well in the tournament, and that defeat could drive him away from the goal of becoming the challenger for the champion title. The only way to regain the lead of the race was to defeat, with the black pieces, the new leader Vasily Ivanchuk from Ukraine in the next round. Could Magnus Carlsen, the Mozart, learn a quick lesson from his defeat? Would he handle his weaknesses and recognize that he underestimated his competitor? If he had not succeeded in the next match, his career would have taken a different course and we would not be writing about his exploits, his nerves of steel, and his machinist moves today. Of course he did. The next day he beat the Ivanchuk brilliantly and with the black pieces, and he did not want to give interviews after the duel. But by a rare fortune, I was positioned just behind the stage of the games when he left without talking to the press. They were magical seconds for me, a young sports journalist covering that world competition. It was as if, for a moment, I had invaded the innermost sphere of a genius and shared that moment with him in his mind. Without noticing that I was observing his solitary walk of about 40 meters to the car, in which Espen Agdesten was waiting to take him back to the hotel, Carlsen jumped up into the air like a child. His joy was contagious. He threw up his arms with his fists clenched, just like Pelé celebrating his goals. Always so serious, timid, and coldly compared to machines, that was a rare and exceptional spirit of the champion. Carlsen proved to me that afternoon, in his early 20s, that he was just a human boy happy to defeat what frightened him most, his own defeat. From there, as much as his incredible victories and world titles have elevated him to the status of extraterrestrial, I am sure that he still has his human dreams and fears like all of us. I am sure that back at London Hotel alone, he celebrated the achievement of the goal of that 20th game, just not to lose. Who will wins? Carlsen knows what he is capable of on the board. Although he does not have the same ambition as he did at the beginning of his career, asked about which past player he liked the best, he had a rare and humorous recollection of those ruthless times by suggesting "myself" by Carlsen 3 or 4 years ago. Perhaps the lack of his initial ambition is the reason to have offered a draw in the last game. Maybe it's just part of the strategy based on self-confidence that you will win in quick games. The truth is that Kasparov himself, in a similar situation in 1990s, said it was very difficult to change a mentality to victor when you set out to play for a draw. Upon being warned at the press conference after the tie with Caruana that the computer gave him a great advantage in the game, the spoiled boy reacted with a few friends' face, like any of us would have when feeling threatened by a machine who does not feel cold or afraid. "I do not care, I will win the tie breaks," said he. It was clear, at least to me, that drawing was his strategy from the start. The question still to be answered is another. And will such strategy work? We'll find out tomorrow, by Tiago Augusto, translated by me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this piece. Check out the page and like and subscribe and whatever people say in these situations. And thank you for watching. See you soon. Almost forgot. I will put a link in the description from of a tournament we are going to hold next Saturday. It will be 11 p.m. on GMT time zone. So check out the description and join our tournament. See you there. Bye bye.